You can be a millionaire in all six aspects of health. That's right. Every week, we share tips to improve your physical, financial, mental, social, intellectual, and spiritual health. Today, we are focusing on how to improve your spiritual health with grief. Yes, very, very touchy subject, and we're going to have three expert guests give us three expert tips on how to get through grief. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is the show built on the fundamental beliefs that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there is something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. We are on a mission to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all six aspects of life. So, we have three awesome guests with three awesome tips. And in the spirit of authenticity and to remove as much bias as possible, we don't know what their tips are going to be. We don't talk about anything backstage. And what you're about to hear is going to be the first time we're going to hear it as well. And we can't wait. Audience, this is an interactive show. Please feel free to comment and ask questions. We do ask them live on air for you. Real quick, we also love to shout out our followers. So thank you so much. Jess Steele on Facebook, Instagram, Madison Eddy, TikTok, Matt Meager, and YouTube, Regina Huber. You guys are awesome. If you want to be shouted on air, all you got to do is follow us. Yeehaw! If you want to be a guest on this show, it's really easy, and we know you have something to share. We're dropping the link right now. We'd love to have you as a guest. Come share your knowledge and help the world grow. If you have an expert topic or something that we have not covered, feel free to drop that as well in the comments or anywhere, and we will go find three guests to help you get through that topic and learn about it. If you like what we do, obviously, it's 2025. Like, share, subscribe, send stars, whatever you're doing on whatever media, we would love to have that. If you like learning and growing, I do love to offer free coaching, free growth sessions one-on-one. We'll drop the link right now. Feel free to sign up. I would love to talk to you all day, every day, and see if we can grow together. And finally, before we announce our sponsors, we have merchandise nowadays: shirts, cups, mugs, calendars, whatever it is. Link is being dropped right now. And finally, this show is brought to you by Craig Sakowski, who is an amazing human behaviorist and mentor, helping entrepreneurs discover their true identity and purpose, which is very rare, and achieving growth not just in business, but life. Craig does it all and makes entrepreneurship the ultimate lifestyle. Sarah Jones also is bringing this episode to us. Sarah used to be drowning in debt and in a very unhappy marriage. At some point, something broke the camel's back, and now she quit her debt program she was in and carved her own path to financial healing and relationship repair. Now her and her husband travel the U.S. in a giant RV with like 40 toys and ATVs and all sorts of stuff attached. And they teach people and coach people how to build healthy money habits and bring joy back to managing finances as singles, couples, and small businesses. Go check out Sarah. She's awesome. Next, we have Veronica Herrera, who is a life coach and host of the Thrive, Don't Survive podcast, who loves to empower others with emotional regulation, which is very important in today's environment. Gives them tools to transform challenges into thriving success. Go check out Vero right now. And our final is Kim Gorshek, a two-time international best-selling author and speaker, helping CEOs maximize focus, energy, and health with 30-plus years of industry expertise. She is amazing. Now that all of that is done and said, let's get to the nitty-gritty and bring out our first guest. Woohoo! First up, we are going to have Holly. Holly, who are you?
Hi, I'm Holly Hughes. I'm a TEDx speaker, an author, and an intuitive healer. So basically, I see, feel, and hear things that others maybe not be able to articulate. And I really like helping people be real, which is the good, the bad, the ugly, and not so polished, because I just prefer it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just prefer it. Holly, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If I wanted to improve my spiritual health regarding grief, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
The first one is you got to feel it to heal it.
Tell me about that. Feel it to heal it, okay?
You got Yeah, a lot of people, when it comes to grief, first of all, there's a bajillion kinds of grief, and I've kind of been there, done that myself. I've lost my home to a fire, I lost my home to an earthquake. I had a starter marriage, I had 3 miscarriages, I have an abusive father. Like, I've been there, I kind of been through a lot of life, and the worst parts don't define you, but you really got to feel it. A lot of people are going to go and get busy and numb and overachieve or overdo or overhelp other people as a way of not to feel what's going on with them. And you really can't achieve anything that you want or attract any sort of millionaire mindset or lifestyle if you are just too numb and afraid to feel those emotions that maybe you think are negative or bring you down or make you weak.
Man, we're gonna be talking a lot about that. This is gonna be a good episode. All right, so feel it to heal it.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll bring some of this up in the round robin. Let's talk about where on your life journey did you learn this?
I learned it over and over and over again because I thought I had to be the positive version. I had to be the good version of me. I had to be the good girl. I had to be the workaholic. I had to do all the things that would make me happy. When really, I had to just figure out that anger isn't really bad and it's okay to get mad. It's okay to cry. It's okay to go do all the things. And I often like to recommend to people that having a creative outlet, if you don't have the ability to scream or just scream, to let it out, to manage the grief, depending on what kind of grief it is super important. Got to feel it.
Fascinating. All right, Holly, we have 1,000 questions, but we're gonna wait until you have the
Yeah.
round robin. We'll bring out our next guest and we'll bring it back out. Thank you so much. Next up, we have Tony. Tony, tell me who you are.
Yes, I'm Tony Lynch. I am. Oh, can you see me? I am the. I am a men's grief coach. I am the podcast host and author.
Author, podcast host, and your podcast is called Grief. Let's talk about it. Correct?
It's called. Yes, yes.
Shout out to that podcast. All right, Tony, I have a very important question for you. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health regarding grief, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Learn to love yourself.
That sounds a lot easier
That would
said
be the
than
biggest
done.
thing. It is. It is because one of the things when it comes down to people, when we're going through grief, we're the hardest on ourselves because it's hurtful. It's painful. You have a piece of you that's missing. So a lot of us don't take care of ourselves when it comes down to it.
Fascinating. All right. Love yourself. Tony, where on your life journey did you learn this advice?
After the loss of my son,
Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Tony has technical. You with us, Tony? All right. We'll bring him back in just a second. We'll move on to Danielle. Danielle, tell us, who are you?
So, I am a somatic therapist and coach. I've been working with women for over 25 years in the areas of um, wealth consciousness and really working in the subconscious in their businesses and in their creations, manifestation, money, message. Yeah, I have a podcast, Embodied Millions. I have a book coming out in the fall, same name. Yeah, that's
What's
me.
the name of your podcast again?
Embodied Millions.
All right. Just want to make sure we got that out there. Danielle, I've got
Okay.
an important question for you. If I
Okay.
wanted to improve my spiritual health regarding grief, what
Yeah.
tiny piece of advice would you give me?
So I come from a somatic lens, and so what I know to be true is that when we deal with these hard emotions like anger or rage or grief, our body naturally, our nervous system tends to constrict, contract, create intensity, heaviness, right? There's usually some somatic component to it. And so the only way we can truly heal is by relaxing into and leaning into, in allowing space for it to move through. And so really, it's really the question is, I think, what is individuals like it's like so subjective. What is it that would support an individual to be able to allow that grief to move through, to have space to move through?
Real quick, I just want you to clarify. You say the word somatic. Tell us what that
Yeah.
is.
So soma is Greek for body, and somatic is the body-mind connection where there's this connection between and making allies. So typically we do everything from the mind, and really we think the mind is the brain, but the mind is every cell in the body. And so when usually you'll have maybe an intuitive hit or a nudge, or your body will be talking, but your mind might try to talk yourself out of that experience, of that feeling. And so it's really about bringing those two parts of you together, integrating them so it supports you in creating integration and wholeness.
Fantastic. All right, Danielle. We're gonna bring out the round robin. I kind of brushed through it quickly for everyone because I know this is where the juice is gonna come. So let's bring Holly and Tony back out. Whoo! All right, audience, this is a great time to ask any questions that you may have or any comments, and we will get those up there for you. Let's start with Holly. Can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
You got to feel it to heal it.
Feel it to heal it. Tony,
Yes.
what are your thoughts on that tip?
I agree.
Why?
Well, you have to be honest with yourself with the feelings that you're experiencing. In order to heal it, you do have to feel it, and it's going to be painful.
Mm.
Danielle, what are your thoughts on Holly's tip?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way through anything is through it, right? There's no around it. There's no shortcut. There's no hack, right? There's a path that requires you to be walking, through the fire, and there's no shortcut to that. So yeah.
All right. So let's ask some tips. How do you feel it? You all agreed you got to feel it to heal it. What are healthy ways to make sure you feel it?
I think you got to get honest, right? I think we're all share a really similar message, and I love how we each come at it maybe a little different. I think there is no right or wrong in the process of healing. I think especially when you're going through the part of actually feeling it, is know that you can survive the emotion. Because there'll be times where you might think you can, right? Like when I heard Tony's story, I'm like, how can my heart not break? Like my eyes are honestly getting it's emotional. I can't imagine what that loss is like. And to move through that sort of loss, I have no idea, but I can hold space and have empathy for it. But that must have brought him to a really dark place. How could it not? Right? So you can get through that. It's just how you choose to find support and ask for help, which is monumental. And it might take you time to do that. And that's okay too. But I really hope that everyone seeks the help if you're in a state of grief and not just trauma dumps on friends.
So that brings us to something, Tony. We were asking you about this when you cut out. I don't want to put you on the spot, so feel free to say no. Do you want to give us a brief little, I guess, a super brief touch on your son? Because I think your son kind of really brought you into this whole, grief and healing sphere. So I'll kind of let you touch on that if you so choose.
Yeah, my son was my world. He was my bond. He taught me how to be a good father. He taught me how to be a better man in the world. He was my road dog. Couldn't ask for anything better as a parent. Especially for me. Everybody's going to experience it differently. It was more personable. So when he left, there was a huge part of me that wasn't there anymore. Um, and his anniversary is coming up next Monday. So it's one of those things. I'm learning to celebrate as I begin to grow, um, and develop more into who I am. And just try to honor him a lot more. Yeah.
Okay, so we talked. Let's go a little bit more over healthy ways to feel. Obviously, anger outbursts is not the correct answer. Any of you guys
Or is
have
it?
tips on healthy? Did you say, or is it?
I said, or is it? Yeah, who says
Okay, there we
I
are. Danielle, tell us more.
Well, I mean, I feel like we tend to, as society, right? I'll just say society or as a culture, that we think that there's a right way to feel and express, and there's a wrong way to feel and express, right? Healthy is a very different word, right? But I think anger and rage is and can be a very healthy way to express a loss that feels maybe unfair, or am I allowed to curse on here? Fucked
Of
up, or
fucking course.
right. Okay, good. Like
Yes.
it's like I feel like that could be totally appropriate, right? Like taking it out on someone else, not so healthy, right?
Okay.
But being able to express in whatever way needs to be expressed. I mean, my piece to this question would be finding a safe space and safe people to be able to be whatever you need to be in order to move it through. That is really like my jam about any kind of emotion, but in particular the hard ones.
What if your safe space was the person that is no longer with us?
Yeah, and so my sense is you need to still find a safe space and a safe person or safe people, right? And I almost, I mean, I don't know if I'm out of line to say this, but I almost feel like Tony, your son is still teaching you, it sounds like he
I
is still you're
Oh yeah.
right. It's like, and you said June 16th, June 16th, right? I know that because my daughter's birthday is the
Hmm.
15th, and she's taking her driver's test on the 16th, and I was welling up with tears thinking about, my God, this is like, it's just so profound, and how we're just all connected in this work
Hmm.
and in this really human intense feeling that we don't really talk about, and that we don't really, there's no socially acceptable way to even talk about it and move with it. I feel like it's something that gets, maybe we do in isolation and in secret, and in I don't know, maybe I'm just blabbering, I don't know.
No, I like it. Can I jump on that a little bit? I would love to add.
Yeah.
I love it. My thing is that so anger was really hard for me because there was a lot of rage in my house. It wasn't safe, right? There was rage, and I learned to kind of get small or be really good, right? But when I got older and I had all this grief in me that I couldn't even understand was grief, when I couldn't understand was anger, because anger was what he did and it's not what I would do. One of my favorite things to do when I run into people like that who are stuck and they don't have words to describe the feeling is that I used to let the people do this in my office, but I don't anymore because I almost broke my table. But everyone has a giant Euro pillow in their house, at least one, especially if you live with a woman, right? So my suggestion is when you're overwhelmed with grief of whatever kind or rage is coming in you, you need an outlet, is you get that Euro pillow and you go to the back of a sofa and you lift that pillow over your head and you smash it. You smash it so hard into that sofa and you physically move, just like what you work. I'm sure you don't work like this, but maybe something better. But you're physically getting that rage out, that grief out, and you can scream and cry and say whatever. And it sometimes helps get that emotion or that feeling or that power inside of you that is holding you down out. And then you can get to the sadness. And you can move through sadness very differently than the rage and the grief of unfairness and uncertainty. So it's one of my favorite things to do. I recorded myself doing it once. The pillow smashed me in my own face and my glasses went flying. And then I had to laugh at myself. But that's what I needed in that moment to just get past the of it all.
All right, we kind of touched on this. Everyone grieves in different ways, correct? Okay. Any objections? All right, so
No.
all of you have had grief that was unexpected, right? I would say almost most grief is unexpected. I guess there's some most massive grief is unexpected, right? You know, miscarriages, lost children, etc., etc. What is one thing? So you guys have all gone through massive grief. You've learned, you've grown, and now you're out here teaching people. You're out here like, hey, I went through this crazy life crisis. Here's things that can help you so it's better for you. But when it all boils down, what is one thing that you wish you had known beforehand that you now know and teach more than anything else? Does that make sense? Is that clear enough?
Mm-hmm. I'll go. Or Tony, you go.
Okay.
You know, the biggest part about my journey is learning how to articulate what's going on, to not allow others to assume anything, right? Because if you assume, you're going to get it wrong. So I would rather tell you. And that caused me to be very honest with myself, to say I'm hurting, um, and being able to, you know, trust people to not take that and try to hurt. So I teach that to the men that I talk to, that it's okay to hurt, it's okay to talk, and put them in a place where they feel safe and validated and heard, and be supported by other men that are going through something similar, because we all want the same things. We want to be loved without being hurt. Now, a lot of people may look at that and go, well, what do you mean? Well, just the same thing like a woman or anything. We want to be loved without being hurt, you know? So grief is just one of those things. It's a human emotion, that's very vast. And you have to, as they say, you have to find your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a tough thing there, huh? Do you guys think it's you could grieve alone?
Not
Say that again.
um
Could you grieve effectively alone without a
Mm.
tribe?
Hmm.
Tony, what do you think?
you know, I did. I did. After the multitude of losses, you know, parents, younger brother, my son, everyone left me. So I had no choice but to grieve alone, right? And so I had to address those things that were coming. And I wouldn't recommend it for other people. I really wouldn't. It's a tough place to be, but I wouldn't change it for the world, because it made me who I am today. Now, I would always suggest people go get therapy, find some sort of support, surround yourself with people that are going through similar things. Don't be afraid to get what you need from those support groups, and then go to the next one. But most importantly, surround yourself that speaks to your love language. You
Okay.
know, and these are just some of the things that I've learned along the way. That's all.
And obviously, the three of them have, they're good resources. Go follow them on Instagram. Go follow them on Facebook. I mean, you honestly never know when you're going to need grief help because it sometimes comes out of nowhere. Um, Another thing I want to touch on is we talked about Tony said his son is still teaching him now. Do you, any of you want to talk about how, maybe I don't like saying this, but maybe the silver lining to some of this grief and what you've learned and grown as a person? And I mean, I know Tony's story personally. I've known Tony for like maybe a year and a half, 2 years now, Tony. And so
Yeah.
seeing his life and how it is now, he does a lot of work and a lot of help. And I mean, it's basically your whole life now is grief and retreats and men's mental health and all that kind of stuff. Maybe Danielle or Holly, you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
I would say that I think grief or any other life hardship or lesson or whatever you call that, it's, I think part of our work is, I think as spiritual beings, is to alchemize that and to make that part of our purpose. And right, we learn and we grow and we teach and we share and we connect. You said something earlier. What I know to be true is that as humans, we need three things. And those three things are connection, belonging, and safety. And as Tony touched on, when you are experiencing grief, right? You are, and I think he even mentioned, like, as a man, right, in the men that he works with, that is super vulnerable place to be. I think your mind can go to, who can I trust and where is it safe? And not feeling like you have any sort of anchor underneath you. Just it's like that cognitive dissonance. It just wipes out your entire what you know to be true. And I think there's one thing that I know from my own experiences and traumas, and my clients, is that there is no going back to whatever it was, the identity you had before grief. You only can transform it and move in it and move through it in ways that support you to remember who you are, why you're here, and how you're meant to serve. So that's my answer.
That's so pretty. I like that.
Thank
I
you.
I think that I like to say that your worst days don't have to define you, but they probably will inform your life and your choices after. Right? So for me, when I'm saying define you, if you get stuck in the pain point, then you're not moving forward, right? And it's a really dark place to be in, right? And grief can also come in waves. You can think you're all over something, and then a song or a moment or a memory will come up, or even for me, like a Facebook memory of 10 years came up today, and I was like, oh, that
Came
got
up
me in the
today.
heart. Yeah, I did. A little memory
It's
came out today.
wild
Not
how
like
the
anything so awful, but like something like really sentimental. And I'm really private about that stuff. So I was like, ooh, how did that get out there? So like I would like to leave that space as well. You have waves of it. You can be great with it for a while, but like I hope that like in today's world, everyone is about like just throwing their emotion out there. You can keep it private and have your inner circle and process it and then share. You can also make that choice, although there's something great for rawness. But I think at some point we can also, again, my thing is being real, is the process of being from raw to sort of healed to healed and informed. And then what am I going to do about this now? And how am I going to show up in my life? And how do I want my life to change or grow or be better from that experience?
it's crazy that you said that that post came up and how this show is pretty crazy for me because a lot of things happen the day before or 2 days before, and I don't keep track of what subjects are coming up. I like to just come at it raw. So like when I just saw you guys, I didn't know we were doing grief until basically like 8 minutes before I showed up backstage with you guys, and so it's funny we on these islands we just had like a really, I guess, like a local legend, a comedian, and he got murdered in the broad daylight, and so everyone on the island's kind of hurting and reeling, and then all of a sudden a show about grief comes on. I'm like, oh wow, well that's what literally everyone needs right now. So it's fascinating that you had that same experience as me. Um, okay, whew. All right, I guess we got to wrap it up a little bit. Man, I knew it's a good one. You guys have any last thoughts or tips? And I guess I'm trying to. I mean, if there's someone going through grief right now, right, reach out to one of these three, and go figure out, get some resources, watch their podcast, go say hi. Is there any tips that you guys would have to like be prepared, to try to if something drastic happened, how you could prepare for that beforehand? Do you guys have any ideas on that or anything you guys teach there?
Um, I would say throw everything out the window that you think that you know, to allow yourself room to learn. Because there's no blueprint to this. Everything is going to affect you in a different way, depending on the relationship that you have. And that's why I say have grace with yourself. Learn to love yourself during this process because it's going to require everything about you in order to get to where you need to be. There's no blueprint, but surround yourself with people that can walk with you, right? And you may have to go through 100 people before you find one, and that's totally fine. Not everybody's going to get it, right? But be willing to be open and allow those that have a heart of servitude to be able to walk with you, right? Because it's going to get muddy, um, and it's going to get crazy, but it's okay. It's totally normal. You're not going crazy, but you got to have some grace for yourself. You're going to have some grace for yourself. A lot of it.
A lot of that's a good tip, Tony. Holly, Danielle, anything else you guys want to add before we work on our daily challenge?
I would say my introvert comes out when I'm challenged, right? Emotionally, I will retreat. In general, that's my attitude, so I don't burden someone. But don't
That's a
retreat too
good one.
far. It's okay to ask for help. Exactly like what Tony said, to go find your people. Like, and you don't even have to talk. Just to be near someone can be enough. And if you don't have that, I highly
Hmm.
recommend also just getting outside, right? Like move a little, put your face in the sun, ground in nature. That can help as well. Um, and yeah, find your community, find a friend.
I love it. All right. Well, let's move on to our daily challenge. This might be a little bit difficult. So we need to get together and come up with a daily challenge. It must take less than 5 minutes per day. It must cost $0, and it must be available to everyone in the world that helps us improve our spiritual health regarding grief. Any ideas you guys have?
I would say one of the things
Hmm.
that you can do, because grief is an ongoing process and it's unpredictable, hence why I don't know if you could prepare for it. But I think one of the things that you could do is start to get somatically connected. And so maybe starting the day by dropping in and feeling into sensations, what's showing up for you in the body, where you might be constricted, where you might feel heaviness, where you might feel light or open or expanded, just so that way you sort of have feedback and information of how you're moving through your day from a baseline. And then from there, you can sort of gauge like what's happening with you as far as like a trigger um, you know, or something really great happening. But I think like coming into the body is a really, I mean, it has to be consistent and you have to do it every day. And then
Okay.
eventually you'll do it multiple times in the day. But I think getting a somatic baseline is a really beautiful way to start being in presence and embodying your emotions and your sensations and what's showing up for you.
So let's try to boil that down. So maybe take like a minute to 2 minutes out of your day and
Mm-hmm.
just focus on, you know, areas that might be sore or areas that
So
may.
it can be sore. It's like, so sensations are like, so the body speaks in sensation, right? And emotions are under sensation. And so what we're saying is we don't always know how we're feeling, or we're waking up and you could be in a functional freeze state and be numb. Like you have no idea maybe exactly what's happening emotionally. So an entry point is we can go in somatically in the sensation. So sensations are hot, cold, hard, soft, smooth, rough, heavy, light, expanded, vibration, movement, stillness, scrambled, chaotic, right? Like there's tons of sensations, but we don't speak in that language because we don't speak in the language of the body typically. But when you start to get really clear on what the language of your body is, it happens really fast. And it's always sending you messages around where you're at. And if you have a baseline for that, it can be really supportive.
Okay, so take a minute and feel the sensations within your body. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay.
Mine's super easy. I got an easy one for you. I love what you
Okay.
say. I think you should unplug an hour before you go to bed and keep your phone out of your room.
Okay. Let yourself
Um,
just process things on your own. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah.
I was going to say the biggest thing that you can do is going to be the hardest thing that you can do is learn to trust yourself.
Mm.
Before you do anything or try to trust any other people, trust yourself, earn trust with yourself, right? That's my biggest thing I tell people. Trust yourself to get out of bed. Trust yourself to listen to your body. Trust yourself
How,
to
how
have
can
a
we make
drink of
that a
water
daily challenge, Tony? Maybe
because it's
like
work.
think of like something
It's
that you
work.
did yesterday that was true or something like that.
Well, you trust yourself. You trust yourself when you get out of bed to go to the restroom, right?
I
It's just
guess.
taking that and personalizing. You need to trust yourself to do the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis. Going to the restroom, getting a drink of water, having an apple, having an orange, eating something, right? What we do when we go into the psychological aspect of grief is that we ignore our basic instincts. We lose trust because for one, we look at what other people do and we mimic them, like addiction and things like that, right? And we want to model that because we think that's what we're supposed to do. Trust yourself to take care of you, right? Earn that trust. Just like how you would earn that trust for other people, take the time and do it for yourself, right? You want to talk to your friend about everything. You want to trust your friend about what's going on, right? Well, just take it and internalize it. Trust yourself, right? Trust yourself to do the right thing. That's it. As hard as it's going to be, it's the easiest thing that you will ever do. Before you do anything, earn that trust with yourself because it's going to be important, and it's going to determine whether or not which path you go down. And trust me, I've been down a lot of paths, and some of them can be pretty doggone dark, you know. But I had to trust myself to climb back out of it, and I didn't think I was going to make it. But I'm glad I took the time to earn that trust with myself.
It's good words, Tony. It's good words. Awesome. All right, so we've got our daily challenge. We're gonna think about an instance the day before where we trusted ourselves and it worked out, right? So we can start building that trust, like Tony said. And then we're gonna take a minute or two and feel all the sensations in there. Um, Man, thank you guys so much. What a great episode, especially in a very important time in my territory. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna wrap up the show and put you guys backstage. Oh, Tony's gone. Perfect. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed another episode of Millionaires Are Made. Today, we focused on how to improve your spiritual health with grief. And as our guest told us, it's hard to almost be prepared for that, but there was some good highlights there. We've got an awesome daily challenge. Um, it's important to feel your body somatically. Take a couple moments each day and feel the sensations you're feeling. And your emotions dictate those sensations. So make sure you feel those and embrace those. If you are going through grief, we have 3 awesome guests. We shared all their links. If you have any questions on how to find them on Facebook or whatever, let us know. It's definitely I would say, a topic that is not covered enough. And so if you are going through grief, let us help you and see if we can find some ways to get you through that. Um, that was our daily challenge. Awesome. Well, hope you all enjoyed the show, and never forget